This scene brings a sense of peace to a lot of players. And I think a lot of that feeling can be relegated to the fact it brings back good memories and nostalgia. Many of us have played Skyrim decades ago, which is wild to me. Like, hello, where's Elder Scrolls 6? Actually, better not to rush studios to put out half-baked games. Take your time.
We're here to teach you a lesson. Never should have come here.
Going back to our topic, the interesting thing is that this feeling of peace and security, it can be achieved only with sound. You can close your eyes and still recognize this is Skyrim. Even without music, the ambience and sound design alone can bring you back. And even if you never played Skyrim, there's just something so timeless about sound in this game. In this episode of BS, or Behind the Sound, we will be diving into the cold tundra of Elder Scrolls V Skyrim to figure out what made the sound behind this game so, well, timeless. Sound is often forgotten when players start to discuss graphics or gameplay mechanics. And while each part of the game is important, the sound design doesn't seem to get the love the art and visuals do. Yet without it, the world just doesn't feel alive. When approaching a world setting from a sound design perspective, you must ask yourself what type of environment we are working with. And in Skyrim's case, it's obviously a cold and windy area, and as a sound designer, you have to keep that in mind when designing your sounds. Same as pouring cold water versus hot water, there is an audible difference. And there's also a difference in cold wind versus hot wind. Many such cases where environment shapes the sound which inhabits it. Sound is a storytelling device, and a good sound designer of course knows this and knows how to use it to their advantage to breathe life into an otherwise sonically empty world. Listen to this spell. Without me outright telling you what it does or what it is, can you figure out what it's supposed to do? If you guessed Oak Flesh, the alteration spell which grants you bonus armor for a short duration, you'd be correct. Even so, when you hear this spell, you hear this metallic layer at the very end which is there to illustrate security and, like the spell, fortifying you, the player. Let's recreate the spell and see what removing the metallic layer does. While yes, it sounds like a spell, and it can be used just like this in-game, the element to remove the metallic layer, it really takes away an element of personalization, which the original spell has. If we put it back in, it makes it sound a lot more grounded and like the spell has a purpose. Another very clever use of sound in Skyrim is the world walls. And while exploring dungeons and wandering the vast tundra, you might not know where exactly each one is. And while usually it's at the end of the dungeon or in places where dragons rest marked with this symbol on the compass, the hum and Nordic chanting that emits from them draws you to them, and that's very deliberate. The game and the developers want to draw you to that wall, and without giving you a direct ping or notification where to go, they use sound to guide you, which is brilliant. Now, I could sing praises all day, but we have to be real here and we need to acknowledge issues where there are some. Given the vast scope of this game, it's understandable that some sound effects aren't as varied as they could be. For example, this hammering sound is pretty much utilized everywhere where there's a hammer being swung. Even if the material being hit is not metal, every bow has pretty much the same sound effect tied to them, even the bound bows, and many other such cases. All that being said, to me, these things are understandable. It's easy to nitpick from a standpoint of a player, or a sound designer in this case. Yet, when a product is in development, audio teams can't pick and choose how much time they have for a project, There is a deadline, and it's much more important to have every sound in the game by that deadline, rather than 57 different hammering sounds for each material or 8 different bow draws for each category. Now, it would be a disservice to end this video without mentioning one of the biggest aspects that elevated this game to what it was and still is today, and that is the music. The music of Skyrim is something that brought us many memories and good times while exploring this vast world. Jeremy Soul's score for this game is really something special to me. It resonated with me, and I believe it really fits the world of Skyrim, and it was a part of my childhood, much like the game. And that being said, for many of us, all these sounds and music is going through a very unique plugin in our brains, and it's called nostalgia. Same as wearing rose-colored glasses, nostalgia applies a filter of warmth and better times long gone. What are some of your favorite sound effects or scores from Skyrim? I'd love to hear what you think. And do tell me if you want more episodes of BS and what game I should sonically dive into next. If this is something you want to see more of, or rather hear, do subscribe and do like, and I'll catch you later.